Looking down on race leader Denny Hamlin at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 19th Brickyard 400. Our telecast presented by Golden Corral. About 25 miles of that 400 are complete. Fans, which driver do you think will be first to finish out of this week's top 4 qualifiers? Hamlin, Edwards, Logano, or Almirola? Text FAST to 34783 or go to AT&TFastestDriver.com to play. You could have a chance to win 4 Gs by playing along in today's AT&T Fastest Driver Challenge. And each week you'll have the chance to make your pick and see where you stack up against the rest. Caution free in the early going. Mike Bliss has gone back behind the wall in the 19 car. The other 42 are on the lead lap.
Now, does your gauges look okay?
Yeah, gauges are good. I'm going to run one more lap. Anything I can do?
Now there you hear and see Carl Edwards off the pace in the 99 car. Had just lost
Put the
third.
battery down by you, see if that does anything.
Had just lost third place to Kyle Busch, and now he's slowing down.
What a horrible feeling as a driver. You get so excited and up and prepared for this. They had a strong qualifying effort and something like this early in the race.
I heard a loud pop.
Coming to you. Let's lift the hood, okay?
See, he's not really even got the throttle down much.
Feel like fuel or anything, Carl, or is it you definitely think it's something else? The valve spring or plug wires are burning up or something like that, okay? It's one cylinder at least.
Yeah, he's just trying to baby it back to the pit area.
Not the way that Carl wanted his Indianapolis to unfold, and certainly not for Chad Norris. In his first race as Carl's crew chief, talked about, and we saw in our opening, all the work that goes into preparing your best piece to take a shot at winning on this so demanding track.
Here. We got to keep all the points we can get. Choose our brains.
Yeah, still got to stay focused. You heard right there Carl say, hey, we got to get all the points we can. Just figure it out. If we can fix it, let's fix it. It is a big letdown, though.
Here he is, Vince.
You heard the radio transmission between Carl Edwards and his crew chief Chad Norris about Carl trying to provide a diagnosis from the cockpit. The hood is up and they are inspecting, but as you guys indicated, certainly not the kind of performance or result this team needed as it pursues a spot in the chase.
Edwards began the day 11th in the championship. 46 points from 10th place. Remember, the top 10 on points make the cut to race for the championship. The final 2 drivers, most wins of drivers between 11th and 20th. Carl with no wins this season and now falling further behind that 10th place.
Try to cut it off one time, Carl, and restart it.
Yeah, the process here,
Shut the master off and then restart it.
they're trying to figure out which cylinder is dead. That's the first thing they're trying to do. And if they can't identify one particular cylinder that's for sure that's not hitting, they'll go back and look at other things. And that's what they're trying to do here. They don't see a smoking gun, so they want to say, okay, let's reset it and see if it's something in the computer.
All right, clear out 4,500. Clear out 4,500.
Jack Roush, team owner, so involved in engines. Watching as his car now heads back out onto the racetrack, having lost a couple of circuits to leader Denny Hamlin. So there's the gap, first to second. Hamlin to Jimmy Johnson, that's 1.5 seconds. And you see Kyle Busch closing in on Jimmy Johnson for that runner-up spot.
One thing I'm seeing right now, the fastest lap has been by Denny Hamlin. Early in the race, he ran a 50.66. He's 2 seconds plus slower than that now.
Jamie McMurray, the 2010 winner on pit road early, Dave.
Scheduled stop, Alan. If you start counting, you can make this a 5-stop race based on starting now, actually with a little bit of insurance. So they're going to come in now, run it backwards like a road course race. Up on the track bar, car was a little bit tight. 2 right side tires.
To make this work right, he needs to stay on the lead lap, and he was about 24 seconds behind when he came off the track.
Seems like a huge gamble, but I think a lot of these crew chiefs and teams are ready to take a gamble here to try to win the race today.
You're right, Dale. There's a lot of talk down there that you might see a lot of different strategies out there today just because of that. There's a lot of ways that you can get this thing done.
Ninth place here, Eric Almirola and Richard Petty's 43, and Martin Truex Jr., who's climbed up nicely over the opening laps of this race in that 56.
Good to see Truex running well here. Boy, they started out the season really strong, got themselves in a nice position points-wise, still are inside the top 10. As of late, the finishes haven't been quite as good as what they started out with, but having a nice solid effort here so far.
Started in 17th, he's up to 10th now in the opening run of this race. So Carl Edwards, the second place starter, in trouble early. Jamie McMurray's team making the first of the strategy plays, and Denny Hamlin leading all of the laps so far. Major League Baseball tonight on ESPN with that bitter rivalry, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees split the first two games of the series. They'll face off in the Bronx tonight at 8. Then tomorrow at 7, Albert Pujols and the Angels look to unseat the AL West leading Rangers, anchored by Josh Hamilton. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA on ESPN. Both games available on ESPN3, live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. First 50 miles of the Brickyard 400, telecast presented by Golden Corral, are in the books. Denny Hamlin leading Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch beginning to close.
Andy, you were talking about that fast lap and how much they slowed down. It's over 2.5 seconds now that Denny Hamlin has slowed down from his fast lap.
Carl Edwards back in 39th spot, 2 laps down, Vince.
Carl says that the oil pressure and the fuel pressure are fine, but it sounds like a header's broke. They were discussing whether or not to come back in and look at it further and continue to work on it, but Carl said as long as it's running the way it is, I'd prefer to stay out. So they're going to defer to Carl's suggestion, and he'll stay out as long as he can. He said if it's terminal, we're going to be done anyway. Let's just stay out and see what happens.
Yeah, the bad thing here is if it's just a header or something like that, it's going to be, he's going to feel pretty bad about making that pit stop and sitting there for 2.5 laps while they try to figure it out. If it's just a header, he could have kept running. It would have only lost about, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 horsepower, which is a lot, but it would have kept running. And right now, he's running close to the leader's lap time. Well, he was a little slower the last lap, but there are laps that he has run pretty close to the leader's time.
Jimmy Johnson closing and closing little bits at a time on Denny Hamlin. Yeah, that looks like a little trash on the grill of that 48 to me.
You know, with the lap time slowing down so much over the run, you're going to see some great racing. You're going to see some cars, because Hamlin comes into play so much, you'll see cars that make runs like Jimmy is, and different parts of the run, you'll see a car that's better than others. I've seen Jeff Gordon has been making some really good laps from the start. He's about, he's 4 seconds back now, but he's been making some headway.
A little trash on the lower left side of the grill of that 11 car also.
And I've seen Denny change his line just a little bit. He'd been having his left side tires just right on that white line. Now he's moved down there as the tires have given up a little bit of grip, giving himself a little bit more room to get down there and find a little bit more grip underneath that white line.
So in last year's race, it was lap 25 when the leaders began making green flag pit stops. Kevin Harvick, not one of the leaders right now. Doc, he's in 24th.
You know, Alan, he struggled all weekend with getting the handle on the car in practice and in qualifying. That's why he qualified back in 27th. And, of course, it's not much better today. Listen in.
52.90 on the tip. 10-4. We might as well pit. Might as well do something. This is terrible. Worse than it was in practice.
And what the terrible means is the car is plowing on the corner entry. It's plowing on exit, and suddenly the car will just snap sideways. He said, I'm going to spin out, I'm going to spin out. So he has got his hands full out there. Guys.
All right, Doc, thanks. As we were riding on board with Kevin Harvick, you saw Brad Keselowski dive onto the pit lane. Doc?
Brad Keselowski trying to get his first stop of the day. The winner from yesterday getting his Dodge in. This is our scheduled pit stops, guys. He's on the scheduled pit to be able to come in and leave. Minimal air pressure change on Brad Keselowski's cars. He is down and away.
Andy, we were starting to talk about the strategy before when Jamie McMurray made the early move to pit road.
Yeah, Jamie was about, like I said, 24 seconds behind when he made that stop. He only changed right sides, got back out there, still was a lap down. And to really make advantage of that, if you're going to play it without risking a lot, you need to be within about 20 seconds of the lead. That way you stay on the lead lap and you can take advantage of that. Here comes the 20, Dave.
And he's had a car that was pretty decent in practice. They'll go ahead and make some changes for Joey Logano, try to get him back out in the Speedway.
Leaders bypassing the opening of pit road there. And Johnson continuing to creep closer and closer to Denny Hamlin.
And these drivers were telling me at what little they saw in practice that as they got closer to a car, they picked up an aero push that made it a little bit more difficult. Vince?
Not too bad of a car for Mark Martin. They just put 4 tires on it, filled it up with Sunoco fuel.
Also pitting that last lap, we saw Logano and Martin, Jeff Burton, Montoya, Harvick. And Landon Castle was in. Here's Greg Biffle in for a stop. Headed toward Dave.
Alan, his car started the day, in his words, aero tight. And then he radioed in, I can't tell if it's loose or tight on exit. Crew Chief Matt Pusch vowing, we will get you some grip. That is a track bar adjustment and air. Vince.
The biggest issue for the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. is just the water temperatures have been going up, and they've had some temperature difficulties because of that trash on the grill. So they cleaned the grill, 4 tires for Dale Jr.
And you see the leaders, the top 2 anyway, coming down pit road. Behind some of the cars that are exiting, it's Jimmy Johnson first to hit his pit stall.
Jimmy's been pretty pleased with the car, but they are going to make a track bar adjustment. Going to go down 1 round, Sunoco fuel and 4 tires. No major complaints for the 48. Dave Burns?
Minor complaints for Denny Hamlin. Tight in the center, and it's causing an exit issue as well. He also will get that track bar adjustment and air pressure adjustment, and they will fill it full of Sunoco fuel. Remember, going full stints here on a full load of fuel, very important.
Look at the race off pit road. Now they'll have a drag race around that exit road.
Well, that was a nice little race. That's totally flat down there. Jimmy Johnson gets the lead there from Denny Hamlin.
Vince?
The 21 of Trevor Bayne, he said experience is going to be the big key for him today. They made a track bar adjustment, also an air pressure adjustment, 4 tire change. It's a little loose at the end of the run. Mike?
Jeff Gordon saying he's tight in, loose off, more concerned about the exit than anything else. A load of Sunoco race fuel going in, also a 4 tire change on Jeff Gordon's race car. Dave.
Kyle Busch said his car was difficult to turn in the center of the corner. When it exited the corner, it was loose. He will get a full load of Sunoco fuel. He will get 4 tires. They'll make an air pressure adjustment for Kyle.
Yesterday's runner-up and former Indy 500 winner Sam Hornish in for his scheduled top. Great fuel mileage for the Dodgers. Keep that in mind, guys. Going to be 4 tires for Hornish. Chassis adjustment. A little bit snug on the entry. A little snug on exit. Going to top it off with Sunoco fuel. Now left side tires going on Hornish's Dodge.
And that will, for the most part, complete the cycle of pit stops for the lead lap cars. The big rush on and off the pit lane. Jimmy Johnson closing on Denny Hamlin before the stops, getting off the pit lane a little bit faster than the 11. And now the new leader of the race is the 5-time champ. And there's the gap first to second. You see Kyle Busch losing a little bit of ground on that exchange of pit stops in that bright yellow M&M's car. "75 miles into the Brickyard 400. Telecast presented by Golden Corral. Jimmy Johnson now out front.